Then Jack Hobbs, Len Hutton, Arthur Morris, and finally Victor Trumper.
We're having a look at a few shots of Sunil Gavaskar batting against England at the Oval in the late 70s. What was so special about him? He played 125 test matches, I know that, and made 10,000 runs for a start.
Wonderful footwork. That was the thing that always struck me about Sunil. Quite a fiery character as well. When he went out to Australia in 1980-81, he got a duck in the first innings he played against the Australians. He was court-marsh bowled Lily. And then down in Melbourne, there was an extraordinary happening where he was given out to LBW. Lily appealed for LBW. I think it's fair to say that he got one of the thickest edges you've ever seen onto his pad. And he tried to take Chetan Chow and the other opener off the field with him. And only the manager at the gate giving Sunil the red card stopped what would have been an absolute fiasco. But Sunil was trying to drag Chetan off with him. And then he was so incensed that he closed the Indian innings at what was an early time, bowled out Australia for 83 and won the match and stormed off the ground again.
Well, I wonder, you know, if that kind of fiery temperament is part of what he needed to combat the world's great opening bowlers. He got 34 test hundreds and averaged more than 50.
Yeah, he was a wonderful player. Footwork, we saw him in just that little short clip there with some good footwork, but his footwork was excellent against the pacemen as well. As always in position. Brilliant player.
Another one with great footwork, 108 test matches, an average in the late 40s, and someone I was lucky enough to bat with, actually, for Hampshire, Gordon Greenwich.
Yeah, terrific player. Wonderful hard hitter, one of the cleanest strikers of the ball I've ever known. And he made 214 Lords here. That was on David Gower's declaration. And West Indies 344 for one. He got that double hundred, 223 at Old Trafford, other hundreds at Old Trafford and Headingley, and he was a brilliant player. 1900s
he made, and people talk about the power of his stroke, but other people who really know batting talk about the finesse of his technique. He was very rarely caught out of position.
Very good technique. And let me emphasise here too that this is my team. This is the team I would want to represent me in a test match or on a test tour. There will be other people who will say, oh yeah, but what about so-and-so? But this is the team I would like to represent me.
All right, we're going to go back quite a few years now to an Englishman who many people call the master, Jack Hobbs.
Spanned all sorts of eras, made his debut against Australia in 1907-8, and the trouble with players of older eras is that there's no real footage of them. This is at the nursery end or on a club ground, and all they're doing there is posing for some shots, and you don't see anything of the matches in which they played. No television going in those days, so that's a great pity. But Jack Hobbs, splendid player.
Well, he got his runs at an average of 56. He played in 61 test matches. He got 197 hundreds in all. I mean, he was knighted. I mean, funnily enough, those shots were at the Oval. And I think people talk too about his technique, particularly on uncovered pitches, his ability to play off the back foot.
Yep. And he's one of the older players I did meet. Went to lunch with him in Fleet Street, went and had a look at his sports shop, had lunch with him with John Arlott, and it was brilliant to sit there and listen to him, and such a nice person as well.
Another cricketing night follows next, Sir Leonard Hutton.
I had my problems with Len, and he picked me out very early as being a brash youngster who might be able to be taken down a peg or two. And Len was the first professional captain of England, and he then regained the Ashes 1953 in the Oval Test match and retained them in Australia. Len was an outstanding character. Think of the pressures on him then of everyone wanting an amateur captain, and Len was made captain as the pro. In Adelaide, when they won that series to retain the Ashes, Len was worried because he'd sent Australia in Brisbane. They made 654. What would the people back in England think? In Adelaide, Johnson has to go off the field because he's hurt his shoulder. Miller's captaining the side in the second innings. He gets 3 for 8. And Compton's going out at number 5, and England are 15 for 3, chasing not all that many. But as Dennis is going out, Len says, "Boogers have done us, Dennis. Boogers have done us." Dennis said, "Hang on a sec, I'm not even out of the dressing room yet."
He got the same amount of hundreds as Gordon Greenwich, you know, 19 Test match hundreds. He got them at 56.6, over almost 7,000 runs, and of course that world record score, passing the Don, that took him 13 hours, and a dry competitor, as you say. And a great adversary of his was Arthur Morris of Australia, who's also in your top 6.
I would have given anything to get Hutton and Morris in. I worked very hard around all the players, and I thought Morris was a wonderful player. He outscored Bradman in 1948 in the Test match when they made the 404 for 3. Morris was up there with Bradman with that big partnership, and then at the Oval, I was with Arthur one night when Chubb said to him, I remember, he said, I was there when Bradman got that duck, when Hollies bowled him, inside edge onto the stumps. He said, I'd never forget anything about it. He said, did you play in that match? Arthur said, yeah, I made 196.
Well, of course, in 48 he outscored Bradman in the series, and at a better average as well.
Over 600 runs. Bradman was just over 500. Arthur was a wonderful player, and I talked about footwork earlier. No one had better footwork against spinners than Arthur, and yet he was an opening batsman. 4,600s,
1,200s in 46 Test matches for Arthur Morris, and then the 6th opener on your list of possibles, because of course we can't give away who you've chosen, another Australian, and quite something, Victor Trumper.
Well, there are only 2 legends in Australian cricket. People delve around, they try to find more, but there's Bradman and there's Trumper. When Trumper died at a very young age, the funeral procession was 4 miles long, and that was so long ago. And he started playing. He had that wonderful tour in 1902, and again you have the photograph there taken at the Oval, but shots of Trumper are non-existent.
Well, that little bit of footage before of those attempted...
Well, they were fiddling around
exactly.
in the nets at Lord's and throwing the ball deliberately into the dirt so that Victor would have to play it up there. And one of the problems is that all the old film during the war wasn't looked after, and it was glued together.
Wisden says supple, graceful, especially adept on treacherous surfaces, 48 Test matches and 800s. How important in selecting a pair of openers is it to have a left-hand, right-hand combination?
I think very important, because I've seen it successful so often, but it doesn't have to be so. And much as I've enjoyed watching, well, now you have 2 left-handers like Hayden and Langer, who go out there, so you can't have hard and fast rules.
So much as you enjoyed Arthur Morris, he's not a certainty.
No, he's not.
Can we give that away as a clue? All right, that's your 6 openers. We'll just run by them again, just to confirm to everybody. So get involved. We don't